The Home Finance Department of the Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning has received the sum of $5.6 million from the World Bank to procure 21 items, which include office stationaries, furniture, a solar inverter, office equipment, and vehicles. The approval was made under the State Fiscal Transparency and Accountability and also Sustainability Project, which was initiated in 2018. World Bank reports says that a total of $1.5 billion was committed to the project in two batches of $750 million, December 2018 and also December 2020. According to the procurement plan of the SFTAS project for the period disclosed by the World Bank, the Home Finance Department received $25,713 to acquire office stationery and supplies. It also got another $39,357, up from 33,000 naira initially requested for additional office equipment and supplies for the SFTAS Program Coordinating Unit. And of course, joining me right now to discuss this is Kenneth Ikenwa, business, political, and public policy analyst, who joins to, of course, further shed more light on this. Thank you so much for your time, Kenneth.
Good afternoon, Dapo.
All right.
Nice being on there.
Yes, compliments of the season also. Now, let's, of course, get to your immediate reaction to this particular development. I would like to know, looking at all of this, how do you react, firsthand?
Well, yes, Dapo, from the look of my face, from my countenance, I'm sure you can see how utterly bemused, peculiarly confused, sad, and disappointed that a country that produces in the excess of about 1 million barrels of oil, 1 million barrels of oil on a daily basis, is now positioned to be a beggar in the Committee of Nations to receive paltry sums to assist in the procurement of stationery. I really think, in my personal capacity as a bona fide citizen of this country, that it is an
Kenneth, are you there?
It is an insult, and okay. I think it brings me back to what was popularly said by Chinua Achebe in Things Fall Apart. How can I have a river at my backyard and begin to use spit to wash my hands? How can we have a river of wealth sitting right here on the beds of Nigeria, and what we find out is that we're borrowing spit, we're depending on spit, on resources externally to do things for Nigeria. I think it is a time for us to have a national retrospection and introspection so that we can get ourselves out of this embarrassing morass.
Anyway, in spite of, will I say, the context at which, of course, this particular, loan has been given. Now, what was the money from the World Bank given? Why was it given to a particular department as against maybe states in terms of the distribution or the disbursement?
Well, when transactions that have to do with nationals or subnationals that also are within the context or within the purview of the World Bank or any financial development institution like the International Finance Corporation or the IMF or the World Bank, they usually would have to pass through the major state apparatus, which would be the Ministry of Health in collaboration with the central bank, which ends up disbursing these funds to the final recipient. So that, I think, is what is responsible for why this money is being, fueled or funneled through the Ministry of Finance, and hopefully will get to the states. But I think most importantly, a loan of this nature begs a major question. What are states doing with being dependent, doing with waiting for the World Bank to be able to assist them with funds to procure photocopiers, inverters, biros, pencils, and paper. What is really happening in this country? Let's come to the real basics of the matter. What is really happening? In some states in the Southwest, I don't want to dignify any state or make a mention of any state. Some states in the Southwest alone are generating internally generated revenue in the excess of 60 billion a month. So how much is 6.5 billion? How much is 6.5 million naira? 6.5 billion naira to be shared across 36 states, or 6.5 billion naira a ministry to procure stationery? This doesn't augur well. This is not good for the image of Nigeria. And we should begin to take our stand as a people, as a government, to reject this kind of loans, this kind of aid, this kind of grants. Because eventually and eventfully, it is all aimed at perpetuating a neo-colonial relationship between countries in the South and countries in the North, the global South and the global North, i.e. Western countries and third world countries.
But some might have argued that maybe such monies as against, using it to procure stationery and, what we've also, highlighted in the bulletin. Some might have said maybe that money could have been diverted to more pressing issues, maybe assist with bringing down the price of, the pump price of petrol or transportation, more basic or, relatable needs than just office equipment. Do you also share that?
Now, Dapo, you're doing this to me, you're getting me to laugh, because I'm not in the mood to laugh this afternoon. All right, $6.5 million will not be enough to address the issues of bringing down the price of petrol. But, taking the words out of your mouth, more realistically, a lot of these monies and monies generated internally in Nigeria could be better directed to actually alleviating poverty and living conditions of people in Nigeria, especially women that are the poorest of the poor. Now, just a week or 5 days ago, there was a transportation subsidy being given, to transport firms to alleviate the conditions of traveling and the cost of traveling. There are many Nigerians that are sick and dying in Nigerian general public hospitals, public health centers, who can't afford basic 1,000 naira to buy drugs. There are many women who can't pay for their cesarean sessions. There are many under about 20 to 15 million young Nigerian girls and women who can't afford to buy sanitary towels. And we're wasting money on stationery? What is wrong with us? What is wrong with us? Who did this to us? And how did we get here?
Well, Kenneth, it's...
Again, such funds become a conduit pipe for corruption and for perpetuating the very, very unholy relationship between core nations and semi-periphery nations like Nigeria.
I mean, talking about...
get out of this rot.
Talking about accountability, which I also think is a basis for all of this too. We've seen in recent days where the EFCC has made certain revelations about a ministry in Nigeria where money laundering was, the figures that was involved would just leave you, really alarmed. And then this is a ministry that is meant to actually help the poorest of the poor, right? And then you see this kind of revelation. So in terms of accountability, we know this fund's coming. We know what they are meant to be used for. But in terms of accountability, how do you think the nation is faring in all of that? If you can give us a response in 30 seconds.
No, we're not faring well at all in terms of transparency, in terms of accountability, in terms of full disclosure, and most importantly, in terms of open book management of all of these funds. We need a new framework. We need a new institutional framework. We need a new legal framework. We need a new governance framework so that monies can be, put to the proper usage of whatever they have been appropriated for. I look forward to 2024. I pray God keeps us all. We have to sit back and rethink this, how we're going to, live as a people. And I'm sure I want to particularly thank News Central for giving the platform for freedom of speech, for decorum also in speech, and for, giving us that platform to be able to speak the truth to power, albeit with all sense of humility. Thank you so much. So in terms of transparency, accountability, full disclosure, open book management, Nigeria is far, 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 far way behind. And I hope to see a change in 2024.
All right, Kenneth and Ikenwa, thank you so much for your time, as always.
Thank you, Dapo. Thanks for also making me laugh, because I've been in a very sad mood since I read this news on the internet this morning.
Well, we hope for change, but thank you.